Understand?
Yes, sir.
So basically, aggregation is a concept of it will invoke multiple microservices API in a single call. It will create a single response by calling multiple services. This is nothing but aggregation. Okay, for that, this is the diagram we made. What we are making is from the client, you are making a single object request. Once you make a single object request, first what it will do, it will go and call a user service, whether user is valid or not. And then it will go and call a product service, whether the product list is available in the API gateway, in the microservice or not. And finally, it will make an order. If all three responses generate in a single response, send a client object. So in this client object, you will receive user, product, order, services, response as a single object. This is called aggregation. Clear my point?
Yes, sir. Understood, sir. We are
Okay.
The thing is we are aggregating the response objects.
Yes, we are aggregating all the response object in a single gateway.
Single. Okay.
Okay, that is the architecture of microservice.
Okay.
Understand my point?
Understood, sir. But over here, like for this user service, you'll be having a different microservice, and by product will. So in that case, sir.
Come again?
Hello. I'm audible, sir.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question?
Sir, like for in this case, like assume that for our user DB, we'll be having a different user microservices, and for product DB, we will having separate product services. Correct, sir? On the product microservices. Correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. The thing is, in a kind of a single shot, we are kind of calling these three internal the microservices. Correct, sir? I'm understanding. Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, understood. Oh, sir. Okay, sir. Understood.
Okay. Vishal, you understand? Akshay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Ashok, you know, right?
I'm good.
Okay. So this is called aggregation. Now the next topic is how to set up API gateway. Now you see here, this is basically, yesterday we prepared a JSON, right? Ocelot JSON, which we prepared a JSON or not. This JSON, route configuration. Okay, so what we will do is, in the builder.configuration.add.json file, in the program.cs file, we are going to add that Ocelot JSON. If there is any authentication, we are going to use authentication authority. And then we are trying to create an object for Ocelot. We are trying to create an object for Ocelot. See, between builder and builder.build method, you are trying to implement everything. This is not a middleware. This is a configuration. You got my point? See, in program.cs file can be splitted into two types. First type is adding all the corresponding services into builder object. Second one is a middleware pipeline starts. Everybody clear?
Yes, sir.
Everybody clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Guys, you are not at all answering.
Yes, sir.
Whether you are sleeping or I don't understand early in the morning. Hello, can you all unmute?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. So this is how you need to set up in program.cs file for Ocelot Gateway. So here you see there is a two middlewares. App.use authentication. Before user coming to the gateway, they are going to validate whether the user is valid or not. I told you, right? User validation will happen in Ocelot gateway level. And second thing is they are using app.use Ocelot API Gateway. Or you got my point? So this is how program.cs file will be set up in Ocelot configuration. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
If not, I can move forward.
No, sir.
So this and all we already discussed. Client send request, gateway validate the token, apply rate limiting, match route, call downstream service, return response. This entire structure I explained yesterday's class. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you all remember or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
This is the real-time use case we already discussed. E-commerce system, because I'm getting into depth one by one slide so that you will understand. That is the reason I'm putting. E-commerce system, first it will receive a gateway handle, product service, microservice, and order service. Limitation of Ocelot, not best for high throughput. It means that if there is a lot of high volume transaction application, Ocelot is not that much stable because it's purely on configuration. So complexity cannot be possible.
What is the alternative then?
YARP, YARP.
So
Which
free
is a
of
Microsoft, another gateway.
free tool?
Come again?
It is also free?
It is a free from Microsoft, but it will
Okay.
used only for the big projects, not for the small projects. So false for simple and medium projects, we use Ocelot. For high transactional projects, we use YARP. It requires a lot of complexity, but I will explain. I cannot able to implement in my project. Clear my point?
Okay.
Large config become complex. If there is, see, today I have only 2 routes here. If I have 200 routes, is it a complex or not? If something goes wrong, identifying from your configuration is very difficult or not? Say yes or no?
I don't think so.
Sir.
You don't think so? See, this configuration will loaded here as a code, as an object. You see here, builder.configuration.add JSON file. You are reading the ocelot.json file. Ashok.
Yeah, so ocelot.json, the name should be as it is, or we can change the.
You can
JSON?
change anything. You
Okay.
can change anything. It's a better practice that you can maintain as a ocelot.json. JSON file can be anything. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So the problem is if you are maintaining every root mechanism in ocelot.json, that is not good. So that is the reason we are planning to do that. Clear? So that's why you see here Ocelot versus YARP, config based, here high performance code based. Everything you configure in code, not in the configuration file. Ocelot, you are doing everything in a configuration file. YARP preferred for enterprise based application, which is a large transaction enterprise level application you are building. The best option is go for YARP. Got it?
Okay.
This is the interview questions. You all know, right? What is API Gateway? Can anyone answer what is API Gateway?
Entry for
In
the
a single statement?
microservice.
Come again?
Entry for the microservice API gateway.
Okay. What is upstream versus downstream? This also we discussed. Yesterday we discussed upstream versus downstream. In config file we implemented. Do you remember client URL will be called it as an upstream and microservice URL will be called it as a downstream.
Downstream.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
How rate limit works, we already discussed. Ocelot versus YARP, we are already discussed. Final hook, API Gateway is the backbone of microservice. Without it, system fail at scale. For example, in this scenario, order service has lot of transactions where one service is not sufficient. Do I need to scale it? How do I scale? Can I create a one more order service here? Listen carefully. Can I create another order service here? I am creating one more order service. Okay. And then what I can do, I had a load balancer here. Okay. I had a load balancer, something like this. Load balancer. Okay. Now, whenever user makes a request of order, load balancer will decide which service it has to invoke. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whether it has to invoke this service or whether it has to invoke this service. So that is how you can extend your microservices. See, user service and product service no need to extend because it doesn't have much logic and performance is faster. When compared to order service has a lot of business logic. So I want to scale my order service. I want to scale my order service. Is it possible? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Come on, guys.
Yes, sir.
Nobody is answering properly. Only. Where is others?
Sir, they've gone.
Okay, fine. They get bored, huh? Anyway, so the next thing is microservice system design mastery, where you become an high scalability and interview ready. System design thinking. Focus on scalability, reliability, performance, handle million of requests. Design for failure is very, very important. So you need to understand the design. If it is failure in microservice, that will be cost you large. So you have to make sure Ocelot will be more consistent manner. This is your full architecture we already discussed. Performance challenges, high latency, too many service calls, network overhead. Solution is caching and aggregation. Do you know what is caching and aggregation? Ashok?
Caching is to store and frequently access the data.
Come again?
Caching is to store data and frequently access the data. Aggregation used to perform requests, I think, for multiple service.
True. So Ocelot Gateway will help you to do this performance challenges.
Challenges was it says like it is having some limitations. The better can be done through YARP.
Yeah. Caching strategy. Use Redis cache or cache frequently used APIs, or better to have a reduce DB calls, improve response time. So basically what you need to do is in API gateway, you implement Redis caching. Okay, in API gateway
Redis
level.
or Redis or I think Redis and in-memory cache than distributed cache.
Better to have a in-memory cache.
Okay.
Better to have in-memory cache, because if you use a distributed cache, somewhere you need to store, right?
Correct.
If you are storing in somewhere, again it is kind of a database call, right?
Correct.
So if you are using in-memory cache, that makes sense. If you are again hitting a database, instead you can hit your API, microservice API. Either way is good only. So better to have caching in memory, not in the Redis out memory. That is why Redis cache comes into picture. Redis cache will have a flexibility to have it in memory. Okay.
Yeah.
Vishal, I think
No, sir.
it is new to you.
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
No problem. While code, you will understand.
Okay.
Retry pattern, retry failed request, exponential backoff, avoid system overload. This one we discussed, right? Retry mechanism. If any one service got failed, automatically retry mechanism will happen in Ocelot Gateway, where we can implement some configurations. I told you, right? Am I told you or not?
Yes.
Ashok.
Yes,
Similar fashion, you can also use an exponential backoff, avoid system overload as well. So that is where we implement retry pattern. Circuit breaker, I will talk this one later. If any service got failed, stop calling that service. We discussed this also in the configuration last session. Today is a overcap to understand entire Ocelot. Okay, so the main reason is there is no practicality, only theoreticality will be there. The point here is, if any, assume in the diagram, assume your user service got failed. Will you be able to call the user service from API Gateway?
yes.
Ashok.
Yes,
You
sir.
can't, right? Because service is already down. Service is not working. Your microservices is not working. If your user microservices is not working, if you are calling that user microservice, will your system crash or not?
If it is if it is getting failure, then I think that particular service will be down.
It will be down, right?
Correct.
That's what I'm saying. So in the API gateway level, we are listening those services if it is down or not. API gateway will listen all the other microservices is down or not. If anything is got down, API gateway send a response back that no, this particular data will not be available at this point of time. Clear my point?
Yes.
So that is the main reason this concept comes into picture, circuit breaker. To prevent cascade failures, return fallback response. Once a particular microservice is failed, we are going to prevent that. After preventing that, we are sending response in a more generic manner. Okay?
Okay.
We are sending response in a more generic manner. Finally, this one you leave it. Observer. To observe API gateway, you go for serial logs. If anything goes wrong, the transaction histories, like you are making an order, first it will hit the user service. Are we getting a response from the user service? Do we need to log or not?
We need to log
The response object we need to log. And then we are going for user service. We need to log or not?
Yeah, obviously.
So that logging, tomorrow, if anything goes wrong on a transactional level, using these logs, we can easily monitor and see that what is the issue in production. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
The production ready code we need to develop. If anybody comes and asks me, can I take this project? I can sell that project. Clear my point? So that is the reason we need to implement all these things. Finally, security design, we already discussed about it. JWT token, WARP to API throttling, IP blocking, all these things we discussed. If whenever a user, a client, a front-end application will try to call an API gateway, we need to authenticate that request is valid or not with the help of JWT token. Am I right?
Yes, sir. So what about this API throttling? What is API throttling?
That I will tell you later point of time. API throttling is nothing but rollback of mechanism. It's kind of a rollback mechanism. Okay.
Okay.
And IP blocking, rollback mechanism, we have to do API throttling. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Finally, these are all configurations. See, this is the one. Netflix right now using API gateway, Amazon using custom gateway, handle billion of requests. This is really using Netflix or using API gateway only. Or you got my point?
Okay.
And interview scenarios. Do you have any questions in this interview scenarios? Design API gateway for e-commerce. handle 1 million users, ensures fault tolerance, reduce latency. So all these things will comes into picture. Finally, good developer write code, great engineer design system. See, my intention is the second point for my students. I don't want make you as a developer. I want you to as a design engineer. Why? Because a design engineer has a powerful statements, whereas they are developers. Developers can only code whatever we give as a problem, whereas a design engineer who can design the system when there is no fallback happen. Clear my point?
Okay.
You all agree?
Yes, sir.
Don't think yourself as a developer in my session. Think you are an architect or think you are a kind of system design application architect or engineering manager level. If you look into as an engineering manager level, my role is in a broader level. I need to think. I should not think as a very short stamp that what type of code snippet I'm going to write and send it to you. Okay, that is not my agenda. You learn technology where you need to design a system, which means if I'm taking an API gateway, what are all the pros, cons I need to implement in API gateway? What type of solution I need to provide in API gateway? What type of number of users you are accessing on that API gateway? We need to know all these data points from the business user. Understand, you need to implement your system in such a way that this should not fail at any point of time. Clear my point?
Right.
Okay. If you are thinking as a developer, your mindset will only do code because you want to deliver. If you're thinking as a designer, system designer, you think if I place this code in the system, whether this code will execute or not, whether this code will adapt with concurrent users or not. So these are all the thinking capability you need to improve. Writing code, go on ChatGPT, get it. That is not a problem at all. Any developer can do. When you become an engineer, when something fails, how are you going to handle? That is the thought process you guys need to understand. Clear my point?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Mahesh, I think you are new.
Yes, sir. I just joined. I'm just listening.
Your good name, sir?
I'm
Hello.
Mahesh only.
Where are you from?
I'm Mahesh Papala, sir.
Oh, Appal. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all for today. Do you have any questions? Mahesh, do you have any questions? I think API Gateway you missed, right? Last two sessions.
Yeah, I missed it,
Totally you
but
missed the API Gateway. Come again?
I missed
Hello?
those classes. I missed those classes.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to getting from YouTube.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I took like 5 to 6 hours. I completed all the videos from the YouTube. So
Oh.
then we can be routine.
Okay, I think you got the clarity, right? Overall microservice architecture, how it is, and you got the basic structure of microservices, right? By using this, that 10-hour session.
Yeah, I did that. I think I took around 6 hours and it was good, I think. It will take some time, but we can easily learn the things.
Okay, fine. See, one thing I'll tell you, why I'm going with theoretical information initially is not touching the code is, first we need to understand how microservice works. Point number one. Point number two, how are we going to build a system on top of a particular requirement? Everybody will go for telling e-commerce projects only in training, okay? But they can directly pitch in into the code. They won't explain what concept to where to implement in an architect standpoint. My intention is I want you to understand architect standpoint, then writing the code we can easily develop. Hardly 1 hour I can develop some 50 50 or 60 lines of code on a daily basis. We can implement one by one and we can execute it. That is my intention. Clear?
Yeah, basically what I understand is there are a lot of new terms are coming, right, with microservices. So we need to understand what are the new terms we need to understand, and then we can go for coding or something later part.
That is the main reason.
Yeah. It's just about learning now. It will take some time.
See, if you keep on coming, watching and talking those terminologies, you used to it.
Correct.
See, in earlier eras, used to have only talk about ASP.NET, SEO architecture. Do you remember or not SEO architecture in our times?
Yeah, that's
We
what I
talk
said.
about
Since
yeah,
ASP.NET, we worked on so many years, right?
yeah.
So these things, microservices is completely different. It will take some time. Learn first, do some digging, understand something from YouTube also, learn some materials also. Then it will take some time.
No. I will tell you one thing. Those who are worked in 2003 or 2005, 2008, those who understand SEO architecture, microservice is similar to it.
Okay.
Only the challenge is the terminologies. Whatever we discussed, all the concepts we implement in that time also in SEO architecture by using WCF service. Do you remember or not? We create a layer, we will create an enterprise bus, which they are calling right now as an API gateway. Since it is an API, they are putting simply API gateway. Understand my point?
Correct.
The same
API,
kind of
API came into the picture so many years back.
RESTful services are more become popular in 2015.
Right.
Before that, we used to have everything transfer data in an XML objects as a service-oriented architecture.
Yeah, XAML, correct.
Okay. So when JSON comes into picture, only why JSON is very familiar in the market is whenever these frameworks are comes in like Angular, React, Node.js, these kind of UI frameworks are comes in for building data or binding data, people are mostly prefer for services to return JSON object instead of XML.
Correct.
Understand?
XML is, I think, almost done now. XML is almost done.
No,
I
XML
mean,
nobody is
mostly
using. No industry is
nobody's
using.
asking about it now. Yeah, it is
XML
completely
is down.
gone.
Completely gone. Even earlier in configuration, we used to have XML configuration. Now we are doing everything through JSON configuration.
Correct.
Okay. So the problem and challenge right now is people should correlate who have worked in 2005 to 2015, and we are right now with the Gen Z era. In Gen Z era, we need to understand JSON and we need to compare JSON with XML. And that became your life easier.
Correct.
If I ask Mahesh or Vishal or Akshay, they may not aware of XML in their career starting itself. They only know JSON. Am I right, Mahesh?
Yes, sir, true.
So they only talk about JSON. They never talk about XMLs. Mahesh, correct or not?
Yes, sir, correct. 100%.
Okay, but in 2015, this is how the shift happened. Initially, it was the web services in 2004 to 2010. We always talk about as a web service. And then we talk about Web 2.0. Do you remember, Ashok, Web 2.0?
Can you come again?
Web 2.0. Web
No,
2.0.
I don't remember. No, I
No,
don't
in 2008
remember.
to 2015, we talk about Web 2.0. What will happen is SY architecture will comes into picture. After these frameworks are
Correct.
okay, after these frameworks are comes into picture, we talk about JSON because we want to produce JSON as a result so that these frameworks can able to retrieve data. After this API gateway is all without API gateway, normal services are very familiar. then they come up with the microservice architecture. This is how both .NET and Java should evolve.
Right.
Whatever you are doing in Spring Core framework, the same we are going to do it in .NET. Only thing is, code structure and format of data is different from Java system to .NET system. Anybody who learned microservices in .NET can able to understand their system in Java. Only thing is they should not code. That's it. Because their way of configuration or installing systems is totally different from .NET. But the same principles, how we are packaging our code into Docker container, they are also doing in Java. After completing the Docker container with the help of AKS, which is nothing but Azure Kubernetes service, to deploy the same container into Azure engine. Today we are talking through Azure AKS, where if you go for Amazon, where we have a different terminology name, but still we used to do the same thing. We are not doing anything different. Tools are different, technologies are different, but the system design, functionality, everything is same. No change at all. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yeah, please.
sir, when you said that high transactional, what do you mean? Like more number of routes or user
Come
requests?
again?
Sir, when you said that high transactional,
Hmm.
so what does that high transactional mean, sir? Like user request or number of routes in the system?
Number of rules, I believe. High transactions, nothing but number of users.
Okay, sir. And sir, will you show that both type of authentication, JWT and OAuth 2?
In our project, we are going to use JWT.
Okay, like sir, can you show a little bit about it?
I will explain. While implementing the code only, you can able to see that.
Yes, sir.
It
Okay.
will just take like it's a small part only for logging. Easy to easy to write the code also and easy to testing also. So you are
It's
Narendra, you are
basically
also going to
showing the
deploy complement.
4 to 5 steps to configure JWT token. That's it. 4 lines of code or 5 lines of code, we can configure JWT token. That's it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any issues?
No, sir.
Okay, then we'll meet evening 8:30. There is a new session starts. Do you have any friends or anybody? Please refer. Ask them to join. I will share the link by 12 or 1 o'clock. Okay.
Okay. Sir, can we join?
You can join. No problem.
Okay, sir.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.